Okay, so this video is we usually come up with a topic and it's usually directed whether it's new believers or old believers, the teachers or whatever. We have a reason to do each video. We don't just sit here so we can talk and you can listen to us. So today's video is for Bible study leaders or life group leaders or life leaders, whatever you call small groups.
Sunday school teachers.
Yeah, exactly. Anybody in a small environment in the church that's leading or facilitating. Um, I wanted to go over personalities because it's really it takes a lot, as you know, to facilitate different personalities. And I wanted to address some of those personalities today, not to make fun of them, but so that you know the best way to handle each type of personality. Because sometimes you got to be direct in your life group or Bible study, and that's just it. If you're a facilitator, your one goal is, and once again, if I say anything wrong, correct me, please. But your one goal is to keep everything on track, keep it moving along. Make sure we don't rabbit trail off,
Right.
which happens all the time. No matter how much you have that in as a goal, it never happens. It never stays on track. A little, hey, do you see what happened in the news? And everybody goes off to the side.
Right.
So, so what are some of the personalities you've recognized in the groups that are different, and how have you treated them? You want me to? All right, how about this? I'll give you a personality and you tell me how to treat them. Right?
Oh, okay.
Okay, here it's like a game show. You ready? The
Okay.
talker. The one that won't shut up.
The one that won't shut up, one like me.
No, you're the facilitator. Stop it. You're ruining this game. This is a fun game. Okay, no, it's the one who always it just goes on and on and on, and then you go to the next question and they go on again, and it's like you.
Yeah. You try to rein them in, but some people are very hard to rein in. And when I say me, I have had that problem in the past. I actually talked to our small group ministries pastor about it, because I have a tendency to get into teaching instead of just facilitating a group. In the past, I really had a problem with it, but you try to rein them in and start asking others.
Right.
Say, oh, well, that's a good point. Now let's see what what Sally has to say about it, or what Susie has to say about it, or what Jack has to say about it, or what Jim has to say about it. Just try to give everybody an opportunity, and in that case, and just try to keep them reined in. And they can be a handful.
Oh yeah. So let's talk the opposite end, the introvert.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get them to participate?
That can be worse than the one that wants to talk all the time.
Yes.
Because they either don't feel comfortable in the group situation in sharing. They might just want to learn. They might be, well, I'm here just to learn. I don't really have an opinion. But everybody's, or I might say something wrong, and I'm like, there's no such thing as a wrong answer. We're just having discussion. This isn't a test. We're just discussing these matters, this topic in the Bible or whatever it is. So yeah.
Sometimes you have to call on them because they're not speaking out. Right. And sometimes after they're done, you do encouragement. Find a high point in what they said and say, you know what? That is a great way to look at it. I didn't even realize. Encourage them, because the reason they're an introvert and not outspoken, not wanting to pray, not wanting to read, not wanting to do anything, is because they're afraid of they'll do, like you said, do something wrong, or they won't be appreciated in any way or shape. So appreciation, just the fact that they're there.
Yeah.
Okay, appreciate them.
And one thing I discovered was to to not try to build too much on what they said. Just say, "Oh, that was a good statement," and, and just give them props and don't lie about it. I mean, if it was a horrible statement,
Yeah, you don't want to say that
no,
was great. That had nothing to do with what we're talking about, but that was great.
exactly. But just be wise in it. Be wise in how you handle that, especially those that are quiet, because you may not ever get them to speak up again.
Right. You don't want to. You want to be grateful that they spoke up,
Right.
and you want to encourage them to speak up again.
Right.
Let's talk about prayer.
Okay.
No, nobody wants to open the group in prayer, close the group. Nobody wants to pray. Um, that's become an issue sometimes with some of my groups. And I'm
Hmm.
like, hey, anybody want to pray before we leave and go home? And nobody raises their hand.
Right.
How do you handle that?
Um, I don't like calling on people personally. Um, Um, so I just, if nobody spoke up and volunteered, I would do it unless it was somebody that, unless I had one of them talkers all the time.
Right?
And then they might pray for 30 minutes. You don't know, but
You don't
uh,
know where that's going.
I normally would try to handle that myself just to, just for time sake, you know, but, you can ask them privately. Don't ask them in front of the group. Ask
Right.
privately.
Like
Next
before group meets or something.
before or after the group, next week, hey, can I depend on you for prayer? Just say a quick little prayer. Give them time to prepare, because as pastor preached today, not everybody prays all the time. And
Right,
I'm like, man, I pray all the time.
right.
I'm like,
That was great. Or
I catch
like when
myself praying while I'm watching TV.
if
So
you pray too long for food, he starts eating.
yeah, I loved it.
That
I
was
loved it.
great.
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing that I do that anybody who's leading a group, you could try this. You should try this because it
Mhm.
works every time. We do things called circle prayers.
Right.
So everybody briefly prays for who. So I don't tell everybody in the group. Okay, everybody, think of somebody you want to pray for. Okay, I don't care if it's your mom. I don't care if it's your dad. I don't care if it's your dog. I don't care what it is. But we're going to start with Teresa. We're going to work
Mhm.
our way around the room, and when she says, you know, in Jesus' name, go to the next person. Okay, and then we'll do that one, and they'll say in Jesus' name.
Mhm.
That's passing it on. Circle
Right.
prayers work great in my group.
Mhm.
Everybody prays. They all pray. There's nobody's ever said no. I'm still not doing it.
Right.
But that kind of works for me. And then it comes. I will end it so that just like you say to keep everything going
Right.
cleanly.
Right.
But anyway, getting everybody involved. We
Mhm.
uh, we will. I go around the room a lot. So let's say one of the questions is, what's one of the things you're working on as a Christian? Okay, let's say that's the question. I'll go around the room and let each person answer, and it's more successful than if I were to pick on somebody and say,
Yeah.
"Hey, Joe, why don't you answer
Right.
that one?" No, I get better responses. Everybody's involved. It's a great conversation.
Right.
So going around the room, does that you ever done that?
No, not really, not that way.
Yeah,
That's a
it
good
works.
idea. That's
It
a good idea. You taught me something.
it works every time.
Yeah.
People are more comfortable that way. But anyway, that's what I've done in the past.
Mm.
Let's go to the next person. Let's go to the needy person,
Yeah.
the person that needs money or is just their life's falling apart and they just need something.
Right.
How do you deal with that?
I try to help people out. To just like I had one guy to start with, he was moving, so I helped him out, and it was a nightmare. And I found that with those people, when you direct them to the church, they won't remain in your group long. So I just started, every time somebody does that, I'm like, hey, love to help you out. That's why I give to the church,
Right.
and I let the church help people So that's why all of my funding goes to the church, and that's the way I direct them. I direct them to the church. We have a pastor that handles that type thing.
Right. And that's who you go to if you need assistance.
Right.
Sorry, my doors are opening everywhere in the house. I apologize. So one of the things we do in every church is exactly what you said. We're instructed, every church I've ever been to in America
Mhm.
has said, point them to the church.
Right.
Because if there are people who jump life groups or Bible studies to take advantage and to
Right.
get money and support
Mhm.
from the life groups. And that's why you always direct them to the church. If everybody directs the church knows who's needy and they
Mhm.
know who's running a scam. And I have to tell you, when I was back in California, we had a homeless person in our group. That was a little tough.
Yeah.
And people's hearts were so warm. They wanted to help. It was a homeless couple. Uh,
Mhm.
I was honored to have them in the group. I love that. And but we had to direct them to the church. And that's as far as I know, it's been a running rule at all churches. You point them to the church and let the spirit runs the church. If
Right.
that person needs help, the spirit will let the church know. That's a
Mhm.
needy person that definitely needs help. We need to put them up in a hotel or take care of her medical bills or whatever.
Right.
But yes, so the needy person gets directed to the church. It's not to brush them off or forget about them or not care about them. It's seriously a smart thing to do. It's just an organizational thing to do that we
Right.
can take care of the ones that need help and prevent the other ones from taking advantage of people. Okay,
Right.
so what other personalities do you notice in life group?
Um, I don't know.
You don't know. All right, let me think of another one. Hold on.
Well, we talked
Okay,
about the one that won't stop talking, and the one that won't talk, and the one that's so ultra needy.
right.
Um,
So what
I,
about do you have the ultra spiritual?
um,
I've never really had that, but have you had that? You've had that?
well, I've not had it per se in these groups, but I know some people that can be that way.
Right. So you've never had it in life group?
No.
No, I haven't either. Honestly, I can't imagine ultra spiritual in a life group. I could imagine it in church,
Right.
in
And
big, in
that's where I
big.
knew them at was
Say,
in church.
say again.
That's where I knew them at was in
Oh,
the church
yeah,
setting. Yeah.
yeah. You can tell, but ultra spiritual doesn't play well in small groups.
Right.
It doesn't. So, another, and I think of small groups as a second church family. It's
Yeah.
smaller, more intimate. It's another family. I mean, I care about them a lot. And
Mhm.
that's the atmosphere you want in your small group, is that everybody's caring about everybody.
Right.
And sometimes you gotta be harsh getting it back on track.
Mhm.
Sometimes I literally slam my, hey guys, and I'll be banging my hand on the table because there's three conversations going on at once.
Right.
Like, and I just yell out, "Hey guys, can we get back to God?
Mhm.
Can we get
Right.
back to God? We're here to study the Bible, so can we get back to Scripture?" And I've never had it offend anybody. Everybody's open to it,
Right.
but getting them back on track, sometimes you got to be firm and yell and
Mhm.
and get everybody's attention. Um, but the one thing I always forget is to ask prayer requests because I know
Yeah.
that's a thing. That's a big thing too in
Right.
life group. There's a lot of needs out there, and I always forget. Tammy is awesome. She's
Mhm.
like, You didn't do this. You didn't do that." She like
Right.
bumps my arm all the time. I'm like,
Lori does that to me.
that's wives are great. I'm telling you, man. If I forget something, she's like, "Tell them about this. Remember, we have to do this, or we're not going to be here next week, or the
They're
church is closed. We can't meet."
Yeah,
You
they're
know,
truly helpmates.
say again.
They're truly helpmates. Helpmates.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So the one thing that I can almost agree upon about all life group members, whether they talk, they don't talk, they pray, they don't want to pray, is we love them all.
Right.
We love them all. We're having this conversation to help leaders have the courage to do the right thing, to move it along, to stop the conversation, to do whatever they need to do
Right.
to facilitate their group, and that's awesome. And you're never listen. If you have it in your heart to be a leader, anybody who's watching this video, um, be a leader. Go take the classes, find out how to be a group leader, and if that's in your heart, do it. Nobody's better than anybody else. We're
Right.
all made equal, and and just as long as you got love in your heart and you want to help people, then do it. And you don't have to know the Bible cover to cover. I'm like the biggest walking example of somebody who goes, "Is that true?" Is that true? I didn't know that. Or if you have a question and I don't know where it is, I'll be like, "I'll get it for you. Let me go look it up for you, and we'll figure
Right.
that answer out." You don't have to know everything. You just gotta have a warm heart and love people.
You don't
Yeah,
have to know everything. You just have to know where to look.
exactly, exactly. And I just look it up on my app. So
Yeah.
any version you want. I
Yeah.
think like 400 million people have downloaded the Bible app.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't want to go on a rabbit trail because we're talking Bible studies here.
Right.
So, is there anything else you wanted to talk about regarding Bible studies?
No, I think if you're a teacher, just always be prepared. Always
Absolutely.
be prepared.
And by the way, don't be afraid to be wrong, or don't be afraid to admit you don't know the answer to something and ask. Sometimes you learn more from the people around you than you teach. You'll learn more. Just like on my show. I've learned more cooking tips on the show than I know.
Mhm.
So don't be afraid to be normal and humble,
Right.
and accept somebody who may be more versed in the Bible and know the right way.
Right.
So I hope this encourages people. I hope that the life group leaders out there had a little chuckle, because we've seen it all. We've seen it all year in, year out.
Yeah.
Uh, but I wouldn't trade it in, because honestly, it's an honor to
Mhm.
facilitate. In my mind, it is. So don't hold back. If you have it in your heart, find out what it takes at your church to become a life group leader, and lead away. And I always make sure everybody knows it's your group. It's not just my group. I'm not the just because I'm facilitating does not mean it's Jack's group. It's all of our group. So whoever has to say something, say something. Feel like you have a voice in the room.
Right.
So
Right.
anyway, I know I've been rambling. I'm one of those guys. I'm sorry. No, I'm just teasing. That I know you're thinking that too.
Well, I love you, Jack.
I love you too, and we'll hook up next week, right? We'll talk again next
Sure.
week. All right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're good, and I can't wait to see what's coming up next.
All right.
See you later.
Thank you, brother.